It's already happening.
Yeah, he had to take us there. It is our very next match. It is Orange versus RDU, and it is a huge, huge deal because after the great start that Orange had to proceedings, after all the work that he puts in, all the dedication, and just, you know, how lovable and likable a guy he is, he now finds himself in the position where this is must win for him. There are all sorts of tiebreaker backflips we can do if he does pick up the win. But step number one is that he has to win. He has to beat RDU. And this is not a scenario where RDU has nothing to play for. RDU gave himself the position to say that he can look upwards towards playoffs. So RDU is also fully invested in beating Orange here in terms of his own Grandmasters career and locking up that playoff spot for the post game for the end season.
Yeah, so we can take a look at the standings and see exactly how that's shaping up and why it's shaping up that way, and you can see the records down below. For Orange, if he wins this match, he then needs either Swids or Viper to take a loss in one of their next two. If he loses this match, he is in the relegation spot.
Yep.
End of story.
Yep.
For RDU, if he wins this match, things can pan out in his way where he ends up in that playoff spot instead. So there are major implications to the wins on both sides, but the stakes, I would say, are much, much higher for Orange in this one. And after yesterday's tough beating that he took at the hands of some outcomes, I hope he's in the right form for this, because it is the most emotion that I have ever seen from Orange in competition.
It's about the most emotion I've ever seen from a Hearthstone player in competition. It was an incredible moment, and again, if you guys have not seen it because of the technical issues we had yesterday, please do go check it out on the Hearthstone YouTube page, because it was a hell of a series and it was a heartbreaking moment. It was an incredibly dramatic moment at the end of that Warrior Mirror and just the reactions that followed. But I do want to be very careful here, because I know that the emotional stakes for Orange are enormous. But let's not forget that RDU has been the nearly man over and over and over again in Hearthstone. You know, last chance qualifier, missing out to Pavel and not making it to Worlds, and then Pavel ends up taking the whole thing. Your example that you were giving with Kalento, where you had to go and give him a big pep talk in terms of just really keeping going and still being a top-level competitor. If he now misses out on playoffs by one spot again on the final day of Hearthstone Grandmasters, like, that's enormous for him as well. You know, there are two players, there are two stories, there are two sides to this coin. As much as, you know, emotionally we would love to focus on Orange, I think we owe a duty to both of these players to talk about how important it is for both of them.
Always remember to celebrate winners.
Yes.
That's what everyone's here for. Is for that glory. So we roll into this match. It is a mirrored match of archetypes. And so the pick and protect phase panned out exactly as you would imagine. Both of them protecting Priest in the matchup, both of them banning Shaman in the matchup. RDU starting with Druid, though. This is a line that we've been seeing a lot, is the protect Priest, ban the class that's bad for you, and start Druid.
Yes.
It's very interesting to me.
It is. It's unusual, to say the least. And we hear these words, mind games, mind games, mind games. He won the mind games. He won the 50-50. You know, all of those things coming out in terms of how the cues come out. That I think whenever you see something slightly unusual, that's where they are. It's just they're in like layer 2 of the he thinks that I think kind of thing going on.
Yeah, so then I go back to the basic line of thought, which is, well, of course he won the matchup. They played Priest.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, what are you doing? I see where he's thinking at, though. Like, these two players have, I'd say, one of the more storied histories of all the matchups that you see in Grandmasters. And so they're fairly intimate with how the other thinks about the game, how the other approaches. And that's where that layer of mind game really comes in.
Ooh. No Bloodfen Raptor from RDU. Skips a quest turn. We talked about it a lot, right? Like, the buff cards come down, you get punished a lot. Injured Tolvir at least half solves the problem for Orange.
I like it from RDU's side for one exact reason. He's going first, and he had Innervate on turn 1.
Yeah.
So his quest complete, if he turbos to it, is turn 4.
It's just back on par, essentially.
And,
yeah.
And he can draw Oasis Surger to be that turn 5 impact.
Right.
So you are under fire
Right.
But if you get that Oasis Surger, that can change everything.
But I've said time and time again, I am far less of an advocate these days of Bloodfen Raptoring your opponent's Northshire Cleric, because it just doesn't work anymore. Like, this happens so consistently. Coin extra arms can happen here because RDU is going first.
No, why did it show up right then?
If that Wrath and that Zephyrus had swapped places, we would not have had a discussion last turn. That Wrath would have been snapped on that Northshire Cleric.
So let's talk about the Crystal Merchant then.
I don't want to. I can see the hand.
So you're in favor of not trading card draw.
I am in favor of not being able to give a balanced opinion because I'm staring at a Circle of Healing in Orange's hand.
Cover it up, cover it up.
I have object permanence.
That's how that works. No, that's not enough. It's digital.
What?
Okay.
If RD is going to win this game, he needs to draw Oasis Surger.
I agree. It's just so scary because, I'm kind of joking about seeing the Circle of Healing. I'm also seeing a Nephset Ritualist, but that's 4 cards, right, in the opponent's hand that just absolutely farm you here in this position.
I'll say this. If you don't draw Oasis Surger, you're going to get farmed yourself. You're just going to farm your face at that point.
That is very fair. The Chef Normie draw.
Thinking about Starfall as well. Starfall, an adequate draw if there's no more buffs.
That is going to be the deadest of dead cards in this matchup. It's the ultimate brick.
In the light's name.
Oh, yeah? Not going to be an F-set turn then. He's going to use the circle instead, look for additional card draw.
Yeah, I think he's looking for face damage.
He's looking for an Inner Fire as well to be able to either push damage or take care of this Crystal Merchant at his discretion.
I think the entire purpose of that draw was to find an Inner Fire and start going face. Divine Spirit, I think, is just as adequate as a threat, because then that card draw is not going anywhere the rest of the game.
I wonder.
I can solve it here. Quick check for the Mind Control tech in RDU's deck. It is not there. Yep, Team Tolvir. Leave minions injured at the end of your turn. It's become a thing that priests do look out for now.
I liked your original phrasing. No comment?
Nope.
Leave injured.
You trying to get me fired, Admirable?
No, I just think it's funny.
Okay.
You very rarely mess up words.
I know.
I quite often do.
I wonder.
This Pounce is kind of interesting this turn for RDU. Not a card we see too often in the straight-up Quest Druid version. More of a Malagos Druid card. Kind of introduced it into the format, but it does make sense. It kills a lot of things early that are very scary to Druids.
I was wondering if there was ever a chance that you feel like a card draw on the Wrath is important. But I think that killing off this Light Warden is paramount.
Yeah.
I think your opponent getting card draw after you've seen a circle is like, how much more of it can you possibly prevent?
Right.
I think the push of the damage is irrelevant. So now RDU with that second card draw, he's got 1 shot left. It needs to be Starfall, it needs to be Oasis Surger, or I fear the game will snowball.
Also, imagine the pressure that Orange is feeling right now, because this is far from the ideal Priest pan out against Druid up until this point. Like, you do not want Druid to be at 24 while you have 2 damage in play at this point. Like, you want them to be bleeding close to death, and you want to have a minion that you've already cast Inner Fire on the board, just hitting them in the face. Orange, with his Grandmaster's life on the line, has had a pretty slow start to proceedings against Druid, so he will be absolutely fearful of all of those big plays coming out from RDU's side, even though we can see that they are not there.
Orange already a player who's hunting for sequences that fight off against the opponent's strongest plays. He's got 2 of them to think about this turn. Like, how do you set up for it? You just do the thing. And so you are super nervous here. You did not have an explosive start. You had a Northshire Cleric to draw. Those draws have yielded more draw. So you're drawing plenty of cards.
Yeah.
But you're worried about Oasis Surger coming down and crunching everything.
Huge draw for RDU. That is not it. That is a whiff. Borderline hard pass this turn for RDU.
Orange.
I know.
His demeanor, I imagine, will change drastically after this turn.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Yep, there it is.
Jewels of the sound.
Suddenly he's playing Hearthstone again.
Ooh.
Still nothing. One more draw for the big impact, and now the potential damage is coming through from this topsy-turvy. More card draw from the Nefeset Ritualist as well. It's Cleric on its own, if a Divine Spirit gets picked up, is pushing 14.
I wonder.
Blademaster in, Nefeset in, Ritualist them both. This looks right to me.
Life is an afterthought.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay, Pyromancer Shield would put him back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand. Yeah, it's way too much draw this turn.
So
Way too much. Unless he wants to bet on 4 out of the 6 cards that he's drawing, like the first 4 being the Divine Spirits and Inner Fires
so
that he needs.
you can bump the Beaming Sidekick into the 3/1 after this, so you'll draw 5 cards.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, good catch. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep.
If you draw 5 cards in this spot, like, yeah, good luck Druid fighting this. Like,
Yes.
it's just, this is way too many cards at this point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a good spot. It burns 1 card instead of 3, I believe. Very, very big deal.
Pair of Spirits. One option for RDU, go to 30.
Nope.
Nope. He's going to take the alternative. Kill the Wild Pyromancer. That's going to mean Howl, and I believe that means dead.
I respect it. I think he dies to all the
My
same stuff
hand's
there, whether
full.
he plays a 6/6 taunt or not.
Yep.
So he needs to go digging to find answers, needs to draw a card for the Wrath. That was the important part. Orange is going to count this 15 different ways. I promise you that. That's 2, that's 4, that's 6, that's 28. Topsy-turvy ends the game, and that, I promise you, despite it looking very, very simple, was a scary game for Orange, and you saw the turn he was scared. You saw it very clearly in his posture on camera. He knew he did not get the quick pre-start in that matchup. He did not have the luxury of being able to make a 16-16 on turn 3 and turn it down like we saw some players in Americas do this week, but he still found a way to grind himself through and get himself over that line. I think he had a few decisions to make there. I think he made them very nicely. I think the fish to find Inner Fire on that one turn where he left himself mana open to make that happen, to be aggressive, was very good. I think his sequencing on the last turn was excellent with how he started drawing, and then recognition of the spot that you see where you throw a minion away and you don't draw as many cards and you only end up burning 1. Perfect scenario, but it's also got to be said, as I said, in the interest of balance, don't want to just focus on Orange. Massively important game for RDU as well, and his deck just dealt him a brick in that game.
It's very much, Druid is very much like a combo-esque deck, where you just are going to have failure rates sometimes. You need your massively powerful cards, and when they don't show up, your deck doesn't work.
Right.
It's the nature of a very powerful deck.
Right.
Draw your good cards, deck works. Don't draw them, you look kind of weird.
Right.
For me, the big one, though, is that with the pressure that Orange is under, he's still finding himself making the right plays. It's everything built up. He does not look composed, but his play is.
Yes, yeah, polar opposite to Boston in the previous series, right? Like, Boston looked composed and played pretty composed. Orange is letting the stress show, but he is still playing very, very solid.
Yep. Definitely a lot at stake in this one. So we got to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to find out if Orange can close the series or if RDU can keep his playoff hopes in the running. We got 3 more matches afterwards, so stay tuned.
darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. There should be scorching deserts, adventure mastered of narcissism. High stakes think annihilation, obliteration of civilization. Now is the time to be brave, evil's come to enslave, but this league's gonna save.
Hello and welcome to Around the Fern. I'm Nathan Zamora. That's Admirable, you can call me, and I'm joined today by a very special player. Please state your name.
Christos Tsakopoulos.
I thought it was Fino. Like I've always called you Fino at tournament.
Well, yeah, people call me Fino, Feno, Fenomeno, whatever you want to
Okay,
go with.
well, you got to. I think you need to pick one of them though. It's not just Phenomeno or
Let's
Fino.
go with Feno. Let's go with Feno.
Feno.
Yeah.
Okay. You're happy with that?
I think it will be easier for you.
So where are you living right now, and what's that like? What's that like for you in Hearthstone?
Yeah, now I'm just living in Greece with my parents. We have a really big apartment, and on the first floor, there's like a movie theater that my dad
Like a
operates.
movie? Like you guys make movies there?
No, there's no movie making in the movie theaters. You just show the movie.
So like you just show them other
yes,
people?
people come and they can watch the movie in the movie theater.
But you don't make them.
No, we don't make them. We get the movie and we show the movie in the
I
theater.
thought the whole point of the movie.
Just sell tickets, we don't make movies, and people come and watch the movie.
Okay. Well, I get. Let's just agree to disagree on that. Phenomeno, Pheno, Feno, whatever you want to call it.
I'm done.
But we're in an interview.
My name is John Westberg. In game, I'm Orange. How I came up with my username is really no interesting story about it. I just always really liked the color orange. What Grandmaster means to me, it means a lot of things. I've been enjoying these past few years like no other. It's been the best years of my life. But starting off from square one each and every year has certainly been quite brutal. But finally getting like some recognitions and like, hey, you guys are the top players in the world of this game. It really means a lot to me. It makes it so these past years of work has definitely been worth it. What I'm looking forward to most about the Grandmaster experience is definitely that I get to compete every single week against what is considered to be the absolute best players in the world. The thing I played most throughout the years has definitely been mid-range decks. A deck that takes on an aggressive role against slower decks and takes on a defensive role against the faster decks. To prove myself that I really make it among the best is if I make it to the global finals. It's a pretty big goal. It's going to be very, very hard. I think this might be it. I think this might be my time to really shine.
Welcome back to Hearthstone Grandmasters for Europe. We're in our penultimate day of the regular season. I'm Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, joined by Simon Sottle-Welch, and right now Orange holds a 1-0 lead over RDU in a very dramatic series for this one. For Orange, he must win or he faces relegation, and for RDU, he must win or his playoff hopes will have to wait until Season 3.
Yes, and with that on the line, you can see the emotion on at least one of these players' faces. I assure you that RDU is feeling it too. But as we've spoken to him after his last couple of wins, as he's dragged himself out of the relegation battle, he's mentioned that he feels, kind of calm and kind of serene about the situation, that he's just feels like he's playing good Hearthstone and that's all that he can do. And as long as he does that, he's comfortable with the idea that he's doing as much as he can. Orange, much more heart on the sleeve in this scenario, and having now vanquished the Druid with the Priest, he is queuing up the Mirror, and we talked about the coin versus on the play dynamic. That card there, the Innovate, that can be the big kicker to the situation if you are going first. Talk about some of the differences in the deck for Orange. It's one copy Howl, one copy of Mind Control Tech, one copy of Power of the Wild.
I do believe in this particular matchup that the one less howl is often a benefit to the way that your mana will pan out. On RDU side, there is no copy of Mind Control Tech. He's got 2 copies of Howl and no copy of Power of the Wild. So I would say that while RDU has the advantage of having the Nomi at the top end, that Orange has the advantage of having some more push potential in some spots where the things can get tricky. So I think this early innervate from Orange and snagging him tempo could be a big deal as this game rolls out.
It could. It's very similar to the dynamic we saw yesterday during Ball Control series, right? Where I think Ball Control versus Psycho, I believe it was, he played it out very well. He recognized that he had the more aggressive build of the deck and he had to play it more aggressively. And it's no surprise because the parallels are obvious. It's 2 players from 2 very specific practice groups, whereas Orange as T1 has the ball control deck in the scenario, and RDU has the Psycho deck in the scenario. So once again, Orange is going to be the one looking to be aggressive in the scenario with the Scenarias, as ball control was yesterday.
Hey.
I just thought of that as I was ending. I really had to shoehorn it in, so it wasn't that good, but I'll still take it.
It's only a 5-year-old joke.
Yeah.
I'm glad it doesn't take you too long to get it right.
Yeah, only about 5 years. It's fine. About as long as it takes you to get my name right.
Should I say the full thing from now on?
The full thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I have no idea what I just signed up for, but I'm interested to find out.
Oh, one day you will.
Yeah.
One day you will. It might not be today.
Oh,
might not be tomorrow.
I get it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, fine. Go for it.
It might right now, Survivor of the Lake!
Thank you. That's Simon, Survivor of the Lake Melch to you. Actually, I think you're fine.
Quest complete on both sides. Orange serves up first with Oasis Surger. Now it's up to RDU to return that serve. This often, in my experience, results in an accept of the trade where you play your own Oasis Surger and you frown.
Yeah, I think Orange with Nourish in hand is comfortable with his position. He knows he has the Nourish. He does not know if Orange does. So on average, he's in a decent spot here, just trading down evenly.
Yeah, I would say that given the Nomi dynamic, the clause to think about is, do you need your removal or do you need push potential, given that you're the one trying to win that ultimate battle?
Yeah, and I think for RDU, the game plan is just draw his deck, survive as best he can, you know, Starfall down and, you know, Loti swipe down the boards that Orange is going to try and push with. Just get to the end of his deck, activate that Elise, activate that Nomi, activate that Zephrys, and his deck just has much, much more late game power than Orange does. How many Oasis Surges do you want to play this game, Orange?
Well, let's see if it's a 4th.
Answer, yes.
Oh, okay, so now, big choice. Scenario says you're rolling into 7, 8, 9. If you take Scenarius here, what you're saying is your deck will fill up on turn 8.
Draws are Nourish, Hidden Oasis.
Now, how about...
I think Lodi would get the job done.
Loti is reasonable, yeah. Just Loti, swipe your opponent's thing.
So that's a question of the average draw on your deck. I think when I consider Crystal Merchant, it makes me want the Oasis Surger.
Oh, interesting, because this way you have Crystal Merchant live as a turn 7 draw as well, or a turn 8 draw.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
This is the most Druid game that ever Druided.
Yes, I love it. Because for RDU, he faces a real choice. He cannot just let this pressure continue to compound. He has to think about the power of the wild on Orange's side.
He can, though. It's legal.
It's
He's allowed.
legal. I don't know if it's wise.
I kind of like it.
You like instantaneously dying to power of the wild? I guess you would go to 8 mana, so you'd have the Surger swipe.
Mm-hmm. Or 9, rather.
Yeah, well, Nurse takes you 8, and then you take
Yeah,
up to 9.
on the turn you make the play, you have 9 now.
Hey, Crystal Merchant.
Nice.
So the question is now slotting that in when and where. My thought was to slot it on 8 so that you guarantee the draw. What else also use spending that 2 mana on next turn. It would be Lodi almost exactly.
What do you get punished by playing it now?
Surger. Wrath.
So you already saw one Surger. Yeah, okay, the Wrath's a big deal. Yeah, Wrath's definitely a big deal.
I think if you're going to tank 10, that Ferocious Howl looks appealing. All right, well, Orange's turn is massive. In RDU, he is not expecting another Surger. Whoopsie daisy. RDU, no reaction. He is fully focused.
Laser focused.
Because that is bad.
Yes, it is. Orange now needs some way to back this up. He needs card draw, he needs Scenarius. He needs either a way to draw through and find threats, or something that immediately follows this up for big damage on the following turn.
For RDU, do you cut the damage or do you cut the card draw? That tells me with that Floop and that Hidden Oasis draw that you're more interested in cutting off the card draw.
Agreed.
So now, Orange gets a draw with Wrath. And that's a pretty dead one, so this is an important draw.
Gotta feel like Nourish is his best drawer in this position off this Wrath.
Oh yeah. No question about it. He is far away from opening up the Zephyrus. Hidden Oasis, not a bad second.
Protects him from that flooped Oasis Surger, at the very least.
I have a small curiosity about the Anubisath Defender,
I think it's fine.
but it's extra damage.
Yup. Orange is the tempo deck, the way that the decks are built. If your opponent is flooping the Oasis Surger, that's a big loss for them when they're down a floop in the late game scenarios if it gets there.
Obviously makes your draws of like Power of the Wild, Scenarius much better. And I think with this hand, you're not afforded the liberty of waiting. Giddy up.
19 showing 4 more in hand. Ferocious Howl will get the full 10. RDU would go to 31. So Power of the Wild would add 4 to this. 23, 27. So Orange would be off no matter what if the Ferocious Howl happens.
So many Surgers.
This is nonsense.
This is just ludicrous. I think the Starfall is proper here given the situation.
Time waits for no one.
Ooh, the floop is getting used though.
Oh yeah.
Job done.
For Orange now, Nourish has become absolutely the best draw. That opens up the Zephyrus too.
I love how Orange's reaction to, oh, this is bad, and oh, that's fantastic, have been exactly the same so far.
It's overwhelming.
Just hands over mouth. Cannot believe it.
I'm looking at Nourish, swipe, Zephyrus.
You looking for a nice Tyrion?
I was going to hope it maybe offered something. I don't know what's best. I mean, it's tough to say.
Tyrion's pretty sick in the matchup though, right?
Let's go ahead and start with this one.
Yeah, this seems to be happening.
Could grab a nice multi-shot.
Time goes short.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
The Floop in hand too, I gotta imagine you're interested in playing Zephyrus.
Seems like we can do better than the multi-shot.
Yep. I'm curious about what this offers. I think this is one of the rare scenarios where sometimes Ysera shows up. Nope.
Standard stuff.
2 minions in play equals Defender of Argus.
Yep. Gorehowl equals generically good card with lots of mana available next turn. Tyrion equals generically good card with lots of mana available
So
next turn.
now, RDU is at 15. Draws Lodi, double swipe in hand. Small question mark in my head. If you don't kill the minion on RDU side first, does Zephyrus ever, like, say, what about mind control? Because you're tapped out going in the following turn?
No, I don't think it was big enough to trigger mind control.
Does it need to be like 5/5?
Yeah, I don't exactly know what the threshold is, but I would have been very surprised seeing it come down against a 5-3 or a 5-1 or whatever it was.
Waits for no one.
Power takes metal.
RDU says no more damage, please. And now for orange. Big question mark. Oh, that Lodi draw. I'm thinking Zephyrus for deadly shot.
I like that.
The one thing that he reads is keywords.
And this has all of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's see.
I was just about to ask the question, like, what does this floop end up being? Does it end up being a Zephyrus? Does it end up being a Tyrion? The Loti got drawn. I was like, well, does it end up being a Loti? But yeah, the deadly shot here is definitely an appealing prospect for orange.
now he has seen a Starfall and 2 swipes out of RDU, so how important is the Lodi at that
Let's
point?
see.
Like, does it just represent a
Sure.
poisonous minion?
That is a good way of looking at it.
I mean, you have 2 Starfalls yourself. I'm thinking double Lodi's looking appealing.
Power takes
You get the
metal.
Lodi innervate the Tyrion here.
He's going to innovate the Tyrion.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
this makes more sense. He wants it to be... I'm pretty confident. Like, the order there for me... Like, I think I would have Zephyrus. That might be wrong, but I'm just saying what I would have done. But I think, like, in my head, the order of what I wanted those to be was Zephyrus, then Tyrion, then Loti. So if it wasn't Zephyrus, I'm at least happy to see it being a Tyrion.
I'm kind of curious because the Floop Starfall represents a clear on a lot of, like, scenario-style boards, just with the 1 Starfall, right?
Sure, yeah.
So is
Double
like
spell damage, yeah.
Tyrion, innervate, the Lodi would give you that option.
That is true.
That is a lot of damage in 2 Tyrions, though.
Our power.
And I think orange knows that this will prompt a turn just like this one. And now Starfall is looking massive. Mind control tech available. You could double mind control tech.
You could double mind control tech and Tyrion this turn, as long as you do it in the sensible order. I don't think getting both of your... no, what am I talking about? What?
I was like...
I just have 3 floops in my hand or something. Don't worry about it.
What
Let's start with
if-
this one.
How did you not immediately make fun of me for that? What's wrong with you?
Oh! There were 2 spell damage steals. The 4/7 taunt and the Lodi.
Yeah, he got the good one.
That mind control tech could be the saving grace for orange.
Time goes short.
I am very interested in damage right now.
I am always interested in damage, especially here. That is a juicy Divine Shield trade, though.
What if?
It's a juicy 6 damage to face, admirable.
Less is more.
Ooh, interesting.
You got another Starfall. Keep those Lodis.
I mean, I was really interested in that 4 damage.
You got to attack the Tyrion first. Good luck.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. It does give RDU a very good attack with this 5-1. So maybe, then you have to think about, like, maybe the 4-6 goes face and the one that only has rush kills the 5-1?
Sounds like I keep him hidden. RDU's at 18. And you have a Starfall with 2 Lodis. Like, how on earth does that get away?
Yeah, it's very fair.
It's a Zephyrus turn. That's it.
Zephyrus not active. 7 cards remaining for RDU.
What choice you got?
Oh boy.
You accept that 5. If you weaken that Tyrion, you know exactly where it's headed. Straight 6-1 right into your 6-6. That could be happening anyway. Starfall, massive. Even choices beyond that. Can I interest you in a 6 and a 5 drop alongside a 5/5, Sottle?
That's a very good question. I think Orange is still scared of Zephyrus here. I think he is also scared of not having a Starfall in his hand because this is a weak Starfall in the Druid matchup. It's strong in that you get to kill their stuff and push face damage. That's exciting. That's always exciting in the Druid mirror. But in terms of what you actually kill, it's pretty innocuous. But the opposite play, the load up a ton of damage and start pushing, is weak to this Zephyrus becoming active.
What the heck is that?
That is a big whiff. Desert Obelisk or whatever it's called?
How do you know this and I don't? If you control 3 of these at the end of your turn, deal 5 damage to a random enemy.
Yeah, it's horrible. Deeply awful.
Time goes short.
That is nothing. He summoned a minion that read, take up a board space.
Cenarius carrier.
Yeah. I think these attacks are much more clear-cut. Those ones go through because he knows he's only really getting punished by Zephyrus being active here. If Zephyrus is active, it's Twisting Nether and the board gets cleared regardless, so he might as well take his damage. The other removal is just gone from RDU's deck. Anubisath Sentinel.
Defender.
Yes, sorry, that guy. Sorry, Admirable was looking at deck lists, so I was using my psychic powers to communicate with him.
Yes, your voice.
Yeah.
Everyone in chat heard it too. How did you know what Desert Obelisk was? Like, that's still, to me, like, shocking.
I know, I'm also quite shocked that I just don't know the name of any Hearthstone card, but somehow I know that one.
Orange, I think the turn, the prior, you know, the general rule is your minions stick, they put things in the way, you kill them and you go face. I think Orange made the read. If Zephyrus was active, RDU would have used it. And
5,
so now,
10, 14, 18, 22, 24. Double spell damage on swipe is 6. That's lethal, I believe. Starfall swipe. Counting again. 5, 10 from the weapon. The 2 loties are 18, 22, 24. Swipe
That's
does
30.
6. That is lethal. Orange, I promise you, trust me, I wouldn't do you dirty like this. You have done it, my friend.
Orange's end of the bargain is held up. Win your match. You must. And now his fate resides in others' hands.
Whew. That was a roller coaster, and again, heart goes out to RDU because as much as it's impossible to avoid the emotions of Orange potentially getting relegated and potentially still getting relegated even despite that win, he does now give himself a chance, but for RDU, that is a crushing defeat for him because yet again he falls into that nearly man category after coming so close to so many world championships through so many routes. Now, yet again, he misses out on that playoff spot to get himself a position at the global finals and BlizzCon if he was to make it through playoffs.
Yep, I do feel for RDU in this one as well. But, you know, I said it earlier, we got to celebrate winners. And for Orange here, this was a massive win. He has one of the most storied legacies of a player that competes in Hearthstone. And to see him win this match and keep those hopes alive is just so heartwarming to me to know that he has a chance to stay there. Anyone who's going to get knocked down in that spot, it's going to break my heart. But for Orange here, I'm happy to see this win.
Nothing more to add. I just want to talk to the guy himself.
Well, let's do exactly that. Orange, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Ooh, I don't think I need to ask the question. Just talk to me.
I really don't want my career to end here, guys. You know, I came into this as like I didn't know what to do in life when like 5 years ago, and the second I knew that I could like play games competitively for a living, it's all I've been wanting to do. It's my passion, and like I love my job more than anything else, and getting relegated from Grandmasters, I mean, it would feel very, very rough considering that's a huge part of like what I do, like as the competitor as that I am, and you know, having what feels like having your entire career on the shoulders of one match. I mean, I still haven't made it, but I really don't want it to end here, guys. I want to keep doing this. That's all I can say.
So I got to ask, like, what did you do last night? Like, in the 24 hours between then and now, like, what did you go through to get yourself in the right like mental position after what we saw and hopefully people have caught up on the VOD as to what happened yesterday?
I mean, not gonna lie, I cried quite a bit. I thought the match was very, very brutal for me mentally. This entire week has been very rough when it comes to like nerves and stuff. I mean, it's okay though. Like it's like pressure is part of the game. But what I did was I just watched the rest of the matches, and I took a different approach. Actually, Usually, I've been jamming like more games than ever this week just to avoid getting relegated. But between yesterday and today, I haven't played a single one. I was like, against Radu, it's the mirror lineup. It's matchups that I know. I'm not going to stress myself out by playing more. I know these matchups inside and out. And I just need to get my mind on other things. So I haven't been doing much in terms of Hearthstone, but I was kind of just trying to come to terms with the fact that this might be like I might be out, but still got one more shot. It was kind of a messy day and kind of a rough week.
I just kind of want to add to that I don't think your career ends here if the nightmare scenario happens, because the way that you got to this spot was years and years of winning by traveling and dominating tournaments.
Right. It's the feeling, right? It was something that helped a lot. I mean, I can't thank Fino enough. Fino is like one of the absolute best friends I've ever had, and he always knows how to calm me down, and he knows me so well. I talked to him before the match, and I was very, very nervous. My heart was beating. I didn't know if I was going to be able to focus. I talked with Fino, and he just knew exactly all the right things to say that calmed me down and made it so I could compose myself. I mean, I don't know what I would do without him. Fino is an amazing friend.
Well, I don't have any more questions, but I just want to say, while we have you here, and in case this is the last chance we do get to talk to you, that I think you are an absolute advert for a Hearthstone professional. And I think if Hearthstone Grandmasters was 16 oranges in every division, we'd be in a much better world. So I'm personally rooting for you, buddy.
Thanks, all. I really hope this isn't the last time we speak in a Grandmaster interview. But yeah, let's hope that Thijs or Casper can get the win.
Good luck, bud.